All right, y'all, so we back with some true facts and discoveries, right? And today we getting some from Africa. This video is titled Scientists Make a Bizarre and New Discovery in Africa That Changes Everything. All right, so if you're new, come on, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the family, and hit that like button for more new content. All right, let's check this out.
As the so-called cradle of mankind, Africa plays a key role in the development of our species, rich in culture and...
Was that like Black Panther? Was that like Wakanda? What was that?
And Africa plays a key role in the development of...
Oh, it was. I see now the caption at the bottom of the screen. I totally missed that.
Our species, rich in culture and breathtaking landscapes, the second largest continent on Earth, is always in the sights of historians, naturalists, and archaeologists. Today, we would like to show you which overwhelming treasures are really slumbering in Africa. You want to know what the inexplicable incident that took place in Zimbabwe in 1994 is all about? And why is the discovery of an ancient city shaking our conventional worldview? Then be sure to watch our video to the end. Don't forget to leave us a like and a subscription, and hit the bell. We would be delighted if you'd comment on our posts and share your thoughts and suggestions with us. And now, let's get started. Ariels School Incident. It is September 16, 1994, when the children near the town of Ruwa in Zimbabwe flock to the Ariels school as they do every day. Were the visitors to the private school still thinking about the eerie reports that had been circulating 2 days earlier? Accordingly, numerous people had seen a strange, glistening fireball in the night sky. But at first, the school day didn't seem any different than any other. Before it was time for the first break, as the teachers retired for a meeting, 62 students ages 6 to 12 watched something quite incredible. Several silver spacecraft descending from the sky and landing in a nearby field. But that's not all. A creature dressed entirely in black then even walked up to the frightened students to send them a telepathic message. The bizarre figure warned the little ones to take better care of their home planet. Otherwise, humanity would perish along with the Earth. When the children told the teachers what they had just gone through, they had no choice but to send the students home immediately. The question of what really caused the Ariels school incident is still hotly debated to this day.
Y'all knew about this? It's the first time I'm hearing about this. I think I've heard of something similar to this, but it was only of them witnessing, I think a group of kids at a school witnessing something flying around, like a flying saucer or UFO, something flying around in the air. I never heard of an actual event taking place and them walking up to something and them giving them like a prophecy or something like that. And then the kids being sent home. Now, this could be related to the other story I seen, but we didn't have all the information. How does this story not be one of the biggest stories ever, even though it took place whenever they said it took place? It should still be talked about to this day, still be investigated to this day. Man, and not only that, man, I want to know, like, how's the psyche of those kids? Like, how are they living with that? Like, that's something that will forever live on with you throughout your entire life. You'll be known as the kid that experienced that. Like, sheesh.
Really caused the Ariels school incident is still hotly debated to this day. Afterwards, the children were asked to describe the incident again and to make drawings of the strange creatures and flying objects. And in fact, the reports and the pictures should coincide in their basic characteristics. However, some students stated they had not noticed the arrival of a horde of extraterrestrial visitors. While some experts believe the children were the victims of mass hysteria, others believe the Ariels school incident encapsulates the most significant encounter of the third kind of the 1990s.
Okay, so it happened back then. So you mean to tell me, right, we're gonna all say this is mass hysteria, it didn't happen, but a group of kids saw this. I want to see like the drawings. Like they said, if they had all of them drawings, there should be like some similarities. If not, you also have to take in account that they sent those kids home. So it's no telling what the parents spoke to them about. Listen, son, if you go to this school and you tell them that you saw this, you'll forever be labeled as A, B, and C. Meaning that this may follow you throughout life. You know how parents are. I'm a parent. So you try to have your kids' best interests at heart, right? So you may tell them to otherwise say something that you know what I'm saying? Just thinking you're protecting them. So they have to take that into account as well.
Cheetah. The ruins of the city of Getty are the prime example of a forgotten place that opens the door to a bygone era for us. On the east coast of Kenya, around 5 kilometers from the sea, the inhabitants of the important trading hub were able to enjoy great prosperity. In addition, the ruins, made of coral limestone, impressively show us the breathtaking beauty of East African architecture. However, after the locals were ambushed by the Portuguese conquerors, Getty was to be temporarily abandoned in the early 16th century. After the last brief period of prosperity, the city was finally left to its own devices in the early 17th century. Archaeological investigations carried out from 1948 led to the rediscovery of a palace, several mosques, many houses, and a tomb. I was born a man. In 2015, the list of genus Homo was expanded by one species. Accordingly, the researchers succeeded in assigning the fossils discovered in the Rising Star Cave to the newly introduced Homo naledi. The age of the bones is estimated at 335,000 to 236,000 years. We now know that our extinct relative was only about 1.5 meters tall and weighed between 40 and 55 kilos. In addition, this species was characterized by a very small internal skull volume and body proportions reminiscent of those of small populations. Again, the long curved finger bones and broad thumbs indicate that Homo naledi was an excellent climber. In fact, the nature of the teeth even give us a direct insight into the original diet. The large, robust molars show that the Homo naledi either mainly fed on quite hard plants or swallowed a lot of sand and dust while eating softer plants. Impossible rock. Halfway between Africa's east coast and Madagascar lies the island of Anjouan, a remote volcanic island that was formed by an eruption around 4 million years ago. Due to its fiery origin, the island should be made of volcanic basalt, but it isn't. Instead, the geologists repeatedly come across quartzite here, which, however, does not come from volcanoes. It is therefore completely unclear what the quartzite deposits are doing on the volcanic island. We can only speculate on this. One theory is based on the fact that the rock separated when the Gondwana continent split up and then ended up in the sea basin. Then, when the volcano erupted and created the island of Anjouan, somehow the quartzite was brought back up and intertwined with the basalt of the newborn island.
I always thought about that. You know what I mean? What would a volcano eruption create? Did it create? Is that how we have, you know what I mean, this country, that country, everything? You know what I mean? I always thought about that. That gives a little bit of light into it.
Skystone. Rain, snow, bright blue colored stones whose chemical composition is different from anything known. Sometimes the strangest things really do fall from the sky. In 1990, in Sierra Leone, researcher Angelo Pittoni became aware of a strange artifact believed to be of divine origin, according to local legend. Thus, such colorful formations would be mystical creatures that aroused the wrath of God and were then turned to stone and hurled to earth. A scientific analysis showed that the Skystone consists of 77% oxygen, 20% carbon and lime, and a few other substances such as silicon. However, since this material's composition is clearly different from all terrestrial rocks, it is reasonable to conclude that the object is in fact not from this world, but from another planet. Ultimately, it may have arrived on Earth between 2,500 and 17,000 years ago.
Like a little meteor.
Bakoni. Surrounding the South African town of Makadadorp are some fascinating vestiges of the past, the ruins of the ancient Bakoni tribe. To this day, the hills around the city are adorned with stone terraces, complexes, and streets that authentically show us that African agriculture was by no means as rudimentary as people long believed before the arrival of the Europeans. According to some experts, the Bakoni ruins bear witness to the technological and agricultural innovations made by the indigenous tribe long before the colonial era. The traces of the ethnic group can be traced back to the early 16th century, but in fact, the Bakoni can look back on a much longer history. According to some theories, the age of the ruins is an incredible 200,000 years, dating back to the dawn of modern man, but we can't prove this with any certainty. To this day, numerous archaeologists are pursuing the goal of fully deciphering the history of the Bakoni, and thus getting a little closer to our own beginnings. Like so many other ancient ruins, the Bakoni relics are shrouded in some exciting legends. Thus, some people are adamant that the stone walls and circles formed some kind of ancient electrical grid thousands of years ago. The people at that time succeeded in converting the resonance frequency of the earth into a usable form of energy. Unfortunately, the Bakoni ruins were completely neglected by the government, which also caused their condition to deteriorate rapidly. In order to learn more about the true background of these ancient structures, professional investigations are urgently needed. Lost City. Where the most advanced technologies of our time collide with ancient relics, the past comes alive once again. As early as the 1970s and 1980s, archaeologists unearthed the ruins of centuries-old buildings near Johannesburg. Although at the time, researchers thought it was no more than a loose cluster of villages, around 40 years later, detailed aerial photos revealed the true dimensions of the discovery. In fact, these are the remains of a massive site that slumbered in secret for 2 centuries. Like so many other settlements in the region, this city fell victim to a bloody civil war in the beginning of the 19th century. With the help of complex laser technology, the overgrown relics could finally be brought back to daylight. The analysis so far indicate that the lost city was built in the 15th century and covered an area of 10 by 2 kilometers. The recordings revealed between 750 and 850 dwellings, but the researchers cannot yet determine how many people once lived there. In the center of the village, there is an area almost 10,000 square meters, which according to some researchers is divided into so-called kraals, that is, cattle enclosures. If this interpretation is correct, 1,000 cattle would have found space here and testified to the prosperity of the former residents. Before the true background of the lost city is fully deciphered, however, patience is required. Further investigations will take at least 10 years. 200,000-year-old city. It's news whose confirmation would rock our entire worldview. 150 kilometers west of Mozambique's capital, Maputo, archaeologists have uncovered the complex ruin of a great stone city. Analysis of the erosion rate of the dolerite.
I think they need to add to it, still standing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the most intriguing part that they should always emphasize, that it's 200,000 years old and it's still standing. Like, give them their credit.
Ruin of a great stone city. Analysis of the erosion rate of the dolerite revealed that the metropolis was built between 160 and 200,000 years ago. For context, although the Egyptian pyramids and Mesoamerican structures are considered the most advanced structures of antiquity, they are no older than 6,000 years. The Temple of Gantia, which was created around 3600 BC, is currently the oldest building in the world.
Wow.
If the age dating of the African city, which is admittedly not uncontroversial, is correct, we would have to radically question everything we think we know about our species. Surrounded by high walls and equipped with circular structures, the metropolis had an intricate network of roads that connected the agricultural areas with each other. However, who built the city is uncertain, only that it must have been a highly developed civilization. The images that the residents immortalized in the hard rock walls show that they worshipped the sun. However, the fact that they apparently used ancient Egyptian symbols only raises more questions. Ancient tools.
Sometimes it feels like we take like 10 steps forward and then we come across something that set us like 20 steps backwards. Now we're like, All right, we just got to scrap everything we just said about that, because now we have this new information, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Does not know it. One wrong turn and you find yourself in a pristine archaeological site housing ancient stone tools. In fact, we ultimately owe the sensational discovery made by Sonia Harmond and her team in Kenya to a wrong turn. After the experts realized that the Lumpkey site hides a large number of archaeological secrets, the researchers initiated a large-scale excavation. With success, a total of 130 artifacts were recovered, with an estimated age of an unbelievable 3.3 million years. The finds embody no less than the oldest known tools in history. Senegambian stone circles. Located in the east of the Gambia and in the north of Senegal, the more than 1,000 Senegambian stone circles stretch along a common line 350 kilometers long. Research has shown that the structures were made between the 3rd century BC and the 16th century AD in order to bring the red-brown laterite rock, which sometimes weighs 7 tons, into the desired shape. Its creators used certain tools. In this point, the Senegambian stone circles differ from most other comparable structures, which are usually composed of unworked stones.
Yeah, those look or resemble what we would consider to be Stonehenges, right?
Exotic pets. What did the inhabitants of Hierakonpolis do around 5,000 years ago to represent their social status? That's right, they got exotic pets like elephants or hippos. This was shown by the detailed examination of the so-called cemetery of the upper class. Not only people were laid to rest in the approximately 200 graves, but also their four-legged companions. A look at the healed broken bones shows that these were very likely not wild animals. The animals probably contracted these when they were captured.
Yeah, elephants make sense, but I just, that's the first for me as far as hearing a hippo. We've heard about them worshiping alligators and different things like that, but a hippo, it's a first.
Fairy circles. The secret of the mysterious fairy circles has been revealed. This was announced by a team from the University of Göttingen after examining the circular bald spots in Nambia in detail. Accordingly, the theory based on the influence of termites could finally be shelved. Instead, we would be detailing here the result of natural self-organization. But first things first, equipped with special soil moisture sensors, the scientists recognize that the grasses in the fairy circles die off immediately after the rain falls, even though the rain should actually stimulate plant growth. An examination of the remarkably long but intact roots showed that the influence of insects can be ruled out. Rather, the conclusion is that the grasses perspire under the scorching heat of the Nambian desert and constantly lose moisture. As a result, the roots form a kind of soil moisture vacuum, which means they literally attract the cool water. By allowing the grasses to form pattern landscape formations and even distribution results, with all the plants benefiting from the water resource provided by the bare patches. All right, folks, now it's your turn. Which discovery surprised you the most?
The first one, and when y'all talked about the kids in that school, like, oh man, I hope I can come across some more that really dives into that, man, because I don't know why I feel like it's a lot of cover-ups going on there and a lot of things that we don't know that we should know. We need to start there. But y'all get at me in the comment section and let me know what y'all thought about a lot of these discoveries that happened in Africa. All right? And leave a like, share the video, subscribe, and stick around and stay tuned. Until next one, I'm gone, man. Peace.